You know, something we haven't mentioned once, I don't think, this evening, is foreign interference in our election. And we're coming to the end of our time.
I mentioned I didn't get into it. I just said.
Well, I think it's worth us. For me, it's one of those things like the power of marketing. I'm not sure we fully appreciate just how effective the Russians are and other actors at deploying information warfare, not just against us, but around the world. And I'd like to suggest that it's a very serious problem, no matter how you feel about the election that just happened. That's a serious security problem for us and for others. How do you see that, Sam?
I suspect as if we uncover what the Russians did for us in this election, we're also going to uncover what we've been doing in some elections around the world.
Do you feel that it's on the same level?
I don't know. I don't know what level it was.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we do. I just know that when we have, particularly in Latin America, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer, the history of Latin American politics has been a lot of intervention, and particularly as the social Marxist movement moved through other countries of Latin America, we made sure that those Marxist presidents didn't get elected, or candidates didn't get elected.
Zach?
Well, first off, it's nice to have Sam not running for re-election because now we know what he thinks. Sherry, you knew it all along, but I mean, I'm finally getting it out of him. Never got it out of him from the staff perspective. But I'll say, I don't, because it wasn't an attack on our soil, i.e. 9/11 or December 7th, I don't think we recognize that this was an attack on the United States. This is just a modern form of warfare. The level of attack is hard for people to grasp in the same way. This is not a corollary, but in Santa Cruz County, the extent of like just the storm damages we've had at 115 million, since there wasn't a singular catalyzing event like an earthquake, it's been very hard for people to get their minds around the scope of what that damage really is. And it's so esoteric. I mean, what does it mean to have something hacked in the DNC and what really happened to Seth and all these kinds of things that people like to go down these roads with? But the truth is, we were attacked, Sam. I mean, no matter what, the institution was attacked. There was a ripe environment for it to be attacked because of the conversation we've been having tonight about polarization and a willingness for people to believe this misinformation. And I think it's a serious enough problem, irrespective of the degree that it actually tilted the election. We should treat it as the act of warfare that it actually was, that this country was attacked by a foreign adversary in a modern form of warfare, and we need to give it that kind of serious due. And it's glad to see that Congress is finally, to some degree, moving beyond the partisanship to actually look at it to that scale.
And this is, my concern is there has always been propaganda deployed against other countries by probably all countries. I'm not sure people fully appreciate how sophisticated it is now, and the massive scale. And I can just say, in our small corner of the internet, we manage a lot of websites. Even for small and large organizations, every one of them is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're reaching the end of our time together, as I expected. For me, anyway, this has flown by. As we enter our final minutes, I just want to give each of you a chance to just tell me briefly. We've talked about where are we, how did we get here, so where are we going? And what comes next to the best of your ability to see it? And in particular, what would you say to our attendees this evening about what they might take away from this, especially what they might want to do?
Well, Spencer, I just want to thank you. I think look at people came out tonight. They're hungry. We're all hungry to have this dialogue, and we ought to be doing it more often. And you were able to put it together and bring us together. I wish we would do community by community. We even set up agendas. I know some of my colleagues in Congress are now afraid to do town hall meetings. And I said, well, yeah, if you're going to just get up there and they're going to allow everybody to harass you, but why not set up a town hall meeting around a subject matter? Why not about health care? What about, you can get into the Russian, international issues and interference in elections. Focus it around a discussion so that we can really be constructive in our communities, and maybe address problems here locally, so that we feel a lot better that at least we're participating in as how to model issues. I'm speaking at CSUMB on Saturday, and I was talking to a student there. It just struck me because I'd never even thought about this. They have now students attending Cal State Monterey Bay who they're discovering that after they pay for their room and for their books and their tuition, they have no money for food. There's a food scarcity, for insecurity among students, and they're actually among students. This doesn't come from anybody outside. They're figuring out how do we, as a whole campus, participating and making sure that our colleagues get food. You know, they're doing sort of Meals on Wheels type things and providing food for them. I mean, that's still what we've got to do. We've got to find those problems in our community, and I think we'd feel a lot better about if we were fixing our problems here at home, about what we as individuals can do to make things better.
Well, we may very well do more of these talks.
But you got to vote.
But you must vote. Zach.
First, happy birthday to Spencer, by the way.
Okay. That's why we did this. My wife knows this is my birthday present to myself.
It's always about the individual.
It's always about the individual's satisfaction. It's basically what's in it for me.
I'll be very simple. It'll play off of something that Adrienne said earlier. You have to stay involved throughout the whole process to something productive. Come at it from a solution standpoint as opposed to just a complaint standpoint. Work with elected officials toward a common purpose and be willing to compromise. You're not compromising values. You're not compromising. I'm not asking for that. But come to us with a solution. I guarantee you, we know the problem, and we may agree with you that there isn't enough housing or that everybody's stuck in traffic. But come with us on things that will actually work toward a solution. Don't just take to the streets and protest. What they used to do, as you remember on the ACA, is the protests against the ACA would then end with each of them going into their members of Congress's office and telling them not to support the bill. At least there was an action at the end with a specific ask. So make it productive, and I think if you take that energy out of here that way, and as Congressman Farr said, and you actually vote consistently, I think that democracy is still held, the power of democracy is still held by the people. And recognizing that and appreciating that and taking that sense of responsibility will lead us back to where we want to go.
Yeah, and I'm going to double down on that. It's lovely to see you all. We're very glad you're here, Jameson in particular. But, you know, Chris Rock has this great routine, like you don't get credit for the stuff you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got this whole thing where the guy's like, I don't cheat on my wife. And he's like, you're not supposed to cheat on your wife. Like, you don't get credit for the stuff you're supposed to do. You're here, and that's great. What else you got? Is what I would say to you.
And I would echo all of that. I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. We had a long waiting list for this event. The interest in this was so gratifying to see, and we will do more of this. So it's time for us to say goodnight. I want to thank the Middlebury Institute of International Studies again for hosting us so graciously. Thanks to my fellow panelists, former Congressman Sam Farr, Santa Cruz County Supervisor Zach Friend, former Special Assistant to President Obama, Adrienne Harris. I want to thank the staff of Boots Road Group who produced this event, and they're working here tonight. And I want to thank House of 8 Media who are shooting video for us. And I'd like to say, please watch for the video of this evening. We'll take some time to edit it, but once it's done, we will post it at bootsroad.com/hope. bootsroad.com/hope. And please watch also for future events and discussions. Thank you all so much for coming this evening and for participating. Good night.
Well, the highlight for me actually was really getting a different perspective than what I expected to get when I came here. I really was floored by how civic-minded they are and how really they are working towards solving issues that we feel sometimes have kind of come to a dead stop. And to hear them talk so passionately about the fact that they're still working so hard to kind of come to solutions and find answers, it gave me hope.
It was very refreshing to hear Mr. Friend talk very blatantly about the inner workings of politics, so to speak. That's something I definitely want to look into. Talking about corruption, talking about integrity. It is kind of refreshing.
What piqued my interest maybe the most, and what I think will be the catalyst for myself and a lot of people that leave this room, is that we can make a change on the smallest level, and we know it. But I think today kind of galvanized that thought and that spirit that we all came to feel while we were here.
One part that really resonated with me was their large focus on local civic acts and local policy changing, saying that while yes, nationally it's frustrating, going back to your grassroots and your own legislation, focusing in that is probably the most effective way to really make change. That really stuck well with me, being a high school student in the area, someone who doesn't have a whole lot of say in the matter. It made a large impact on me personally.
Something that happened early in the program when our speakers were talking about their own backgrounds and what led them to be interested in politics and so forth. I grew up like that. My father was state senator in Tennessee, and I was reminded that when I was in early teens, I guess, adolescence, I once asked him, I said, the fathers of all of my friends, they go fishing, they play golf, they go to ball games, and you're always in political meetings or civic meetings and always working on this community stuff. And I said, don't you ever want to have any fun?
There are issues now, but we have.
And he said, you don't understand, this is my kind of fun. This is what's fun for me. And fortunately for me and the kind of life that I have been lucky enough to have, I understood that very soon.